Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the lore of Samurai Jack. You might think you know the story. Samurai fights demon, gets flung into the future, tries to get back. But trust me, there's a lot more going on here. We've got epic battles, talking dogs, time travel paradoxes, and even a little romance.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. What I find fascinating is how this seemingly simple premise unfolds against a backdrop of intricate world building. It's really weaving in these elements of mythology, history, and even a bit of philosophy.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start at the very beginning, long before Jack was even born. I was reading through the source material you sent, and it looks like we've got gods creating the universe
Yeah.
and a rope of time.
Oh, yeah, classic creation myth stuff.
Right. But then we get these titans, led by Cronus, who decide they want to be in charge of creation.
Yeah.
It really seems like Cronus's ambition mirrors that classic playing God trope, you know? What do you think? Were the creators intentionally drawing on that?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely that classic power struggle. Cronus representing that danger of unchecked ambition. And yes, I think the creators were consciously playing with those mythological archetypes. And what's even more interesting is how Cronus' story, though seemingly a side note, foreshadows Aku's rise to power.
Oh, how so?
Well, they're both driven by a lust for control and both ultimately face consequences for their actions.
That's a good point. And speaking of Aku, to really understand his origin, we had to dig into this whole dark mass that threatens the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, we go from a creation myth to a cosmic horror story pretty quickly.
Right. It's a tonal shift for sure, but it does effectively establish the stakes. This dark mass represents chaos and destruction on a universal scale,
Yeah.
forcing even the gods to intervene.
Okay, so what do the gods do?
They manage to shatter it, but a massive fragment, the source of Aku, crashes to Earth, wiping out the dinosaurs.
Talk about bad timing for the dinos, right? So this fragment, instead of just chilling out in space, it decides to make a dramatic entrance, slams into Earth, and it transforms into this fortress that's basically spewing out evil. It feels almost Lovecraftian, this idea of an ancient, unknowable evil corrupting the world.
Absolutely. And it's this sense of overwhelming dread that drives the Emperor to confront the fortress.
Oh, so this is where we get to the Emperor.
Yeah. He goes on this perilous journey, loses most of his men, and finally reaches the heart of the fortress, thinking he can destroy it. But instead of vanquishing the evil, he accidentally awakens it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is where Aku, the self-proclaimed shogun of sorrow, is born.
So it's kind of like a cautionary tale about good intentions gone wrong.
Right.
Instead of destroying the evil, he unleashes it upon the world.
And it's such a brilliant setup for the whole series, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It establishes that Aku is not some easily defeated villain. He's this primordial force of darkness deeply intertwined with the very fabric of the world.
So what hope does the Emperor have at this point?
Well, this is where the gods, who have been conspicuously absent up to this point, finally step in. They bestow upon the Emperor a magical sword, forged from human virtue.
So the gods D.O. get involved?
Yeah, but in a way that's really interesting, because it's a powerful symbol, you see.
Okay, what do you mean?
It shows that humanity's goodness is the key to defeating evil. It doesn't turn into a simple god versus demon showdown.
Right. Instead of just smiting Aku themselves, they empower humanity to fight back.
Exactly.
It definitely adds a layer of complexity, makes the Emperor's struggle even more meaningful. So he goes on to defeat and imprison Aku, using the sword and a divinely forged suit of armor. But knowing evil can never truly be destroyed, he dedicates his life to preparing for Aku's inevitable return.
And he has a son.
Right.
And he begins training him in the art of combat, destined to one day wield the magic sword.
And this, of course, sets the stage for our hero, Samurai Jack. It's a classic hero's journey, but with those added layers of mythology and philosophy, and that really unique visual style.
It's definitely one of a kind.
So it's not just about awesome sword fights.
No.
It's a story about legacy, destiny, and the cyclical nature of good and evil. All right, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and focus on Jack's early years. We know he was raised and trained for this epic showdown. But what kind of training did he actually go through? Did he train in ancient temples with wise old masters?
Well, yeah. Picture this. A global training montage.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
All right, so there's martial arts in Japan, philosophy in Greece, survival skills in the Amazon rainforest. He even studied astronomy and ancient languages.
Wow. The emperor really wanted to make sure he was ready for anything.
Yeah.
Talk about a well-rounded education.
Oh, yeah.
He's not just learning to fight, he's becoming a true warrior scholar.
Exactly. It's a testament to his dedication and the importance of his mission. But remember, Aku isn't just sitting around waiting for Jack to grow up.
Oh, right. He's busy rebuilding his fortress, amassing power, and sending assassins after Jack. We see that play out in the series, with those terrifying bounty hunters trying to eliminate Jack as a child. It's like a constant reminder that he's in danger even before he fully understands the threat.
And you know what? Those encounters aren't just about physical danger. They're testing Jack's character, his compassion, even as a child.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, he refuses to kill unless absolutely necessary, showing mercy even to his enemies. And these are the qualities that will ultimately define him as a hero.
That makes sense. So the stage is set.
Yeah.
We have a hero in training, a villain consolidating his power, and this looming sense of an inevitable showdown. It's classic good versus evil, but with so much depth and complexity woven into the narrative.
And just when you think you know where the story's going, it takes a sharp turn. As Jack is about to strike the final blow against Aku, the demon uses the rope of time to fling Jack thousands of years into the future.
Wait, the rope of time. You mentioned that earlier, but we haven't really talked about it. What exactly is it, and how does it work?
It's one of the most intriguing elements of the story, right? Remember those three gods who created the universe?
Yep.
Well, they also wove this rope. It measures the flow of time stretching across the cosmos. It's not just a symbolic object, it's a literal tool for navigating time and space.
So it's basically like a time machine.
Pretty much. And Aku, being a primordial evil, has an inherent understanding of its power.
So he uses this rope to send Jack into the future, giving himself centuries to solidify his rule and become virtually invincible. What a diabolical move.
Oh, yeah. Totally changes the game. Jack is now stranded in a strange and unfamiliar time, facing a technologically advanced dystopia ruled by Aku.
Talk about a culture shock. I mean, this is where we really start to see the impact of Aku's rule. He's taken the world in a dark path, and it's up to Jack to find a way back to his own time and set things right.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive. All right, so Jack finds himself flung thousands of years into the future, a future where Aku's influence has completely reshaped the world.
Yeah, it's a far cry from the ancient temples and forests he's used to write. Now he's navigating neon-lit cityscapes, battling robots, encountering all sorts of bizarre creatures. I remember watching this show and thinking, how is he going to survive this?
It's a testament to his adaptability and resourcefulness. Remember all that training he went through. It's paying off now. He uses his skills in martial arts survival, even ancient languages, to navigate this strange new world.
And it's not just surviving. He's helping people along the way, right? Freeing slaves, fighting off robots, basically being the heroic samurai we all know and love.
Exactly. Even though he's far from home, his mission remains the same: to fight for good and ultimately defeat Aku. But it's not just about epic battles, you know? The series also explores the impact of Aku's rule on the world and its inhabitants.
Okay, so like the talking dogs, that always fascinated me. What's the story there? They're intelligent. They can talk, but they've forgotten their origins. It's almost like a commentary on the loss of connection to nature in this technologically advanced world.
Right. It's subtle, but it's powerful,
Yeah.
you know? The dogs represent this corruption of the natural world under Aku's rule. They've evolved, but they've lost something essential in the process.
But they still help Jack, right?
Oh, yeah. And despite their flaws, they become some of Jack's most loyal allies.
It's a reminder that Jack sees the good in everyone, no matter how different they might seem. He doesn't judge. He connects with people, or in this case, dogs on a deeper level.
Yeah, and those connections are what sustain him throughout his journey. He's constantly meeting new characters, facing new challenges, and each encounter shapes him in some way. He's learning, adapting, and never losing sight of his ultimate goal.
Which is, of course, to get back to his own time and defeat Aku. Does he ever make any progress towards that goal? I mean, it feels like he's always one step behind, constantly searching for portals or clues, but Aku always seems to be one step ahead.
Exactly. He finds portals, remnants of the rope of time, even ancient artifacts that could potentially help him. But each time he gets close, Aku intervenes, destroying the portal, corrupting the artifact, or manipulating events to prevent Jack's return.
It's almost like a cosmic game of cat and mouse, with Aku toying with Jack, constantly reminding him that HES in control.
And it's incredibly frustrating, both for Jack and for us as viewers.
Yeah, for sure.
And it takes a toll on him. He experiences moments of despair, doubt, even loss. At one point, he loses his sword.
Oh, wow. That's got to be rough.
It's devastating for him. And it's not just a weapon, it's a symbol of his purpose, his connection to his father, his very identity as a warrior.
That's a great point. The loss of the sword isn't just a physical setback, it's a symbolic one. It represents a loss of hope, a loss of faith in himself. But he doesn't just give up, does he?
No, he doesn't. He goes through this period of wandering, almost like a spiritual exile for 50 years. It's a dark time for him, but it's also a period of growth and reflection. He confronts his doubts, his fears, and ultimately emerges stronger than before.
50 years. That's a long time to wander the wasteland battling robots and demons. It makes you wonder what was going through his mind during those years, what kept him going.
It's a fascinating question, and the series doesn't shy away from exploring those darker themes. Jack's journey isn't just about physical strength, it's about mental and spiritual resilience. He's forced to confront his own mortality, the weight of his destiny, and the seemingly impossible task before him. But even in his darkest moments, he never completely loses hope.
So how does he regain his sword? Is it just magically given back to him? Or is there a deeper significance to its return?
It's not a simple retrieval. He undergoes a spiritual journey culminating in a confrontation with his own inner demons. It's only after he confronts his fears and accepts his past that the gods, recognizing his renewed spirit, reforge his sword, making it even stronger than before.
Wow, that's powerful. It's not just about getting his weapon back. It's about regaining his sense of self, his purpose, his commitment to his mission. He's back in the game, ready to face Aku once again, but something tells me this fight is going to be even more challenging than before.
You're right. We've still got to cover the daughters of Akuashi's awakening and the ultimate confrontation with Aku. That's where things get really intense, and we'll explore it all in part 3 of our deep dives.
Okay, I'm already on the edge of my seat. But before we jump into that,
Yeah.
you mentioned the episodic nature of the series. Are there any particular episodes from these earlier seasons that really stand out to you? Ones that really capture the essence of Jack's journey or the world he's navigating?
Oh, there are so many great episodes. One that comes to mind is the episode with the Scotsman.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
It's this hilarious and action-packed battle between Jack and this boisterous, kilt-wearing warrior. They're both incredibly skilled, and their fight is epic. But what makes it so memorable is the underlying sense of respect and camaraderie that develops between them.
So they become friends.
Well, they start as enemies, but end up recognizing each other's strength and honor.
It sounds like a classic buddy cop movie, but with samurai swords and Scottish accents. I love it. Are there any other episodes you'd recommend?
Well, there's the episode where Jack is transformed into a chicken.
What?
Yeah, it's completely absurd, but it also highlights the lengths to which Aku will go to torment Jack. He's not just trying to kill him, he wants to break him, humiliate him.
It's like a twisted cartoon logic, but it works. And Jack, even as a chicken, never gives up. He fights his way out of that cockfighting ring using his wits and his martial arts skills. Even in that ridiculous form, it's a testament to his indomitable spirit.
And then there's the episode with the blue teddy bear.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a quieter episode, more introspective, where Jack encounters this lost little girl who's carrying this teddy bear. He helps her find her way home. And along the way, they have this unspoken connection. It's a reminder of Jack's compassion, his empathy, even in this harsh and unforgiving future.
It's like a little ray of sunshine in this otherwise dark and dystopian world. It's those moments of kindness, of connection, that remind us why Jack is such a compelling hero. He's not just a skilled warrior. He's a good person, someone who cares about others, even in the face of overwhelming darkness.
And it's that goodness, that unwavering belief in the power of good that ultimately sustains him through his darkest hours and leads him back to his path. But we're getting ahead of ourselves again. We've got a lot more to cover in part 3.
Right, we still need to delve into the daughters of Akuashi's awakening and the ultimate confrontation with Aku. Don't go anywhere, listeners, because the epic conclusion to our Samurai Jack deep dive is coming up next. All right, so we're back. Last we left off, Jack was ready to take on Aku, but we sort of glossed over those daughters of Aku. What's their deal?
Well, they're not exactly there to welcome Jack with open arms. They're these 7 deadly assassins raised from birth to hate and destroy him.
Is it?
It's a pretty chilling concept.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're not just mindless minions, right? They're skilled, ruthless, and completely devoted to the father's evil.
And they're all women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting considering Jack has mostly faced male adversaries up to this point.
It definitely adds a new layer to the story. It's not just a physical challenge for Jack now, it's emotional. He's facing opponents who are driven by this twisted sense of loyalty and a lifetime of indoctrination.
And Jack, with this whole moral code thing, he's really reluctant to kill humans, right? Even if they're trying to kill him. That's got to be tough.
Oh, absolutely. He's not just fighting for survival, he's wrestling with his own conscience, you know?
Wow.
He sees the potential for good in them even as they attack him relentlessly.
So how does he handle that? Does he find a way to defeat them without killing them?
One of the daughters, Ashi, becomes a central character. Their relationship is really one of the most fascinating aspects of the series.
No, how so?
It starts with intense animosity. She's incredibly skilled, driven by a single-minded purpose to destroy Jack. And he's forced to defend himself, but he's always holding back, trying to find a way to reason with her, to break through the programming that's turned her into a weapon.
That sounds near impossible. How can you reason with someone who's been raised from birth to believe you're evil?
It's a slow process full of tension and conflict, but there are these cracks in her facade.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, she starts to notice things about Jack. His compassion, his selflessness, the way he helps others, without hesitation.
You know, I remember that scene with the ladybug. It's like she's about to crush it.
Ow.
Jack gently stops her, showing a reverence for all life, even the smallest creatures.
Yeah.
It's a powerful moment.
Exactly. It's a stark contrast to the cruelty and indifference she's been taught. It plants a seed of doubt in her mind, making her question everything she's ever known.
And that seed grows as she spends more time with Jack.
She sees the world through his eyes, the beauty, the suffering, the complexity that she's never been allowed to acknowledge.
So it's like a gradual awakening for her.
Exactly. She witnesses the good that Jack has done, the lives he's saved, the hope he inspires in others, and she begins to realize that everything she's been told about him, about the world, is a lie.
It's really a well-crafted character arc. She goes from this hardened assassin to this compassionate, thoughtful individual.
Right.
It's not a sudden transformation, it's a journey.
Absolutely.
And it's through that journey that she falls in love with Jack.
Right.
Wait, love. You mentioned romance before, but it seems a bit out of place in a story about a time-traveling samurai battling a shape-shifting demon.
Not at all. It makes perfect sense. They've been through so much together, these intense battles, emotional confrontations, shared moments of vulnerability. They've seen the best and worst of each other. It's a love born out of adversity, respect, and a shared understanding of the world.
So it's not just action and adventure then. There's genuine emotional depth.
Exactly. And it's through Achi's love and support that Jack is able to fully reclaim his warrior spirit. Remember, he was broken, lost after those 50 years of wandering. Ashi helps him rediscover his strength, his purpose, his belief in himself.
It's like a classic redemption arc, but with this added layer of romantic love. And it ultimately leads them to that final confrontation with Aku. How does that all play out?
Well, just when things seem to be going well for Jack, and Aku intervenes. He senses Ashi's wavering loyalty, her growing love for Jack, and he uses his demonic powers to control her mind, turning her back into a weapon against Jack.
Oh no. That's heartbreaking. He's finally found someone who understands him, who loves him for who he is, and then it's just taken away, turned into a puppet of the very evil he's trying to destroy.
It's a devastating betrayal, and it puts Jack in this impossible situation. Does he fight back against the woman he loves? Does he sacrifice her to save the world?
It's like the ultimate test, right? Of his character, his compassion, his unwavering belief in the power of good. What does he do?
He refuses to give up on her, even as she attacks him with all her might. He sees the good in her, the woman she could be. He fights not to defeat her, but to free her from Aku's control.
And I bet it's his love for her that ultimately breaks through Aku's hold.
You're exactly right. In a moment of desperation, as Ashi is about to deliver the fatal blow, Jack declares his love for her. And those words, those pure, heartfelt words, shatter the demonic influence. She remembers who she is, the love they share, and the truth about her father's evil.
It's a powerful moment, a testament to the transformative power of love. And it's through Ashi using her inherited Aku powers that they're able to open a portal back to the past, giving Jack the chance to finally fulfill his destiny.
And the final battle is epic. Jack, back in his own time, faces Aku at the height of his power. It's visually stunning, emotionally charged, a clash of wills and ideologies, a culmination of everything we've seen throughout the series.
And Jack, fueled by his training, his experiences, his love for Ashi, finally defeats Aku. He slices him into oblivion, fulfilling the prophecy and freeing the world from his tyrannical rule.
It's a triumphant moment, a victory for good over evil. but as you might have guessed, it comes at a cost.
What do you mean? She doesn't make it.
No, with Aku's demise, Ashi, who was only born because of his evil, fades from existence. It's a tragic consequence of time travel, a reminder that altering the past can have unforeseen repercussions.
So Jack saves the world, but he loses the woman he loves. It's a bittersweet victory, full of hope and sorrow. It leaves you with a lot to think about.
And the series ends not with the celebration of victory, but with a quiet moment of reflection. Jack, alone, but at peace, sits beneath a cherry blossom tree, a symbol of renewal and the fleeting nature of life. It's a reminder that even in victory there can be loss and that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Samurai Jack is really a story about courage, compassion, the cyclical nature of good and evil, and the enduring power of hope. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish watching it. And on that note, that concludes our deep dive into the epic saga of Samurai Jack. We hope you enjoy the journey through time mythology and the heart of a true hero. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.